Hey, welcome back to Bridal Sewing Techniques, and today we're going to talk about favorite sewing books. I'll tell you which ones are my favorite, and you tell me which ones are yours. Are you someone who has experience in a mix of sewing but is looking to get into the bridal niche? This channel is for you. Welcome aboard. Okay, so I know I talked about in one of my videos before about, I think it was a Q&A video, and I was talking about going to fashion and design school versus being what people call self-taught. I don't really believe in being self-taught, maybe self-guided or self-led, or you know, just mostly led by your curiosity, but I do feel like we reference some things and that nobody can really consider themselves self-taught. Even if you reverse engineer things, take them apart, figure out how they're put together, that's still learning, you know, behind someone else. So anyways, I wanted to share with you guys some of my sources that I have for books. I'm gonna first show you some reference books, and then I'm gonna show you my all-time favorite book that I personally have learned the most from when it comes to garment construction and alterations of bridal gowns. So I'm gonna link to all these books down below if you're interested in adding any of them to your sewing library. But personally, I love to learn about sewing from reading, and I love diagrams and things like that. I know obviously a lot of people like video, and that's why you're here on YouTube, but I also like books. So I have a stack of them here that we're going to go through. So this one's called The Language of Fashion, Dictionary and Digest of Fabric, Sewing, and Dress. And so yeah, this is like a dictionary, just like a regular dictionary. It's a legit dictionary. So I don't know how you guys are, but I like to actually read reference books like you would read like a book of fiction or whatever. I like to actually open it up and work my way through. That is ultra nerdy. I understand most people don't like that, but even as a kid, I'm telling you, I was weird. I loved reference books, and I would read encyclopedias like books. I just love to learn. And I feel like with dictionary, yeah, this would work if somebody was like throwing around a term and you didn't know what it meant. You could look it up. But other than that, I feel like a lot of the information would be trapped in here if you didn't actually read it, because how do you know what you're looking for if you don't know what you're lacking? So so this to me is like fascinating, just to scan through and see words that you don't know what they mean, or maybe you think you know what they mean, and then reread them and then you're like, oh wow, there's more to it, you know. And it has pictures and stuff, like under laces it has little diagrams of the different laces. So that's that by Mary Brooks Picken. This is an old book. I have had this book for years, but it's super helpful. It has pictures in here too, and like showing you how to stitch on beads, things like that. And then it goes into you know, altering the gown, fitting and pinning the gown, take in, let out, things like that. This does not get incredibly complicated. The diagrams are very simple. You'll notice a pattern with that for me. I love all my books to be like very simple and straightforward. So this is How to Alter a Bridal Gown by Susan Ormond. Obviously it's a little older. Okay, so this is just a ribbon workbook that I have, Crafting on the Go ribbon. And the reason why I wanted to mention this, it's not just this ribbon book, but I had another book and I couldn't find it. But it had a lot of like, if I can get this to focus, it had a lot of like ribbon embroidery stuff in it. And I think that that can be really helpful sometimes when you're doing bridal, because You know, sometimes you need to make like custom sashes or whatever. Okay, so then here's this. Oh, I should say, let me tell you where this came from. 6th and Spring Books, because it doesn't have an author. So there you go. All right, so this is a classic, and I know it looks outdated, but the information is still good. Bridal Gowns: How to Make the Wedding Dress of Your Dreams by Susan E. Andrix. So what's interesting about this is it goes into a lot of detail. There's a lot of sketches in here, and see, like right here, they're even talking about veils. So this is very comprehensive. So I think that's really cool that they included veils. And here's your length guide, your different types of fabric. I just think it's really interesting that they went into that with a wedding gown book, because obviously it's important. So this is talking about crinolines, you know, the slips, removable trains, the chain tacking that we were talking about the other day on one of my videos. And it goes into trains and bustling. So this is one of these days. Okay, I do get a question a lot about, when are you going to do a bustling video? The problem is bustling is so big. That's like doing a video on like a country or something. Like, it's just so big and broad, and YouTube is just not really the best platform for something that big. Bustling would be more like an e-course, and so someday I would like to offer an e-course on it. I may offer a short bustling video sometime soon, because I know you guys ask about it all the time. But this is one way to figure out a bustle, is actually with measuring. There's kind of like a formula for bustling. I don't normally bustle that way, but it's a good way. It's a good way to know that, especially for seamstresses who are scared to kind of like step out there and get, you know, kind of creative and free with things, and they really like things to be, you know, anchored down specifically. They're gonna like this formula here. So there's that. Then it gets into, like, you know, the different types of hems and stuff. So yeah, so there's a lot of information in this book, as you can tell. This is a great reference book to have. Here's fabric types, how to make a bow. It's just incredibly, incredibly helpful. So this one, this is a wonderful book to have. Couture Sewing Techniques. It's got a great glossary in the back. And this is more, for me, this is more like eye candy. It's not really so much bridal, obviously, but it's just interesting, interesting like seams and cuts, and just the way the pockets are put in, and the way the buttons are made, and the buttonholes and all that. It's so outside of what we see in normal manufactured clothing that this is just a fascinating read. And you will find that, you know, some of these things that you read in this book, you are going to find application for throughout the years. So lovely types of knots, things like that. That's always going to come back up, even though obviously, like I said, this book is not about bridal gown alteration. So Couture Sewing Techniques, Claire B. Schaefer. This is the revised and updated version. I actually have I have the older version too. This is a wonderful book. Okay, and then here is the Dressmaker's Handbook of Couture Sewing Techniques. Essential step-by-step techniques for professional results. Linda Maynard. After this, I'm going to show you my all-time favorite book, okay? So, so yeah, this is just great photographs and illustrations of what is going on. So those of you who like photographs more than just the sketches, like the technical design sketches, you're gonna love the color and the detail in this book. So I hope just thumbing through this is going to give you guys a good idea of like, yes, I want that one kind of thing. So it goes into muslins also. This one also goes into muslins. And look, it's spiral. It's awesome. All right, my all-time favorite. Da-da-da! How to Make Sewing Patterns by Donald H. McCunn. Okay, this is ancient, as you can tell. And I've got it kind of like noted and dog-eared to death. The sketches are so clear. And this book, literally, I was kind of, when I was first doing custom garment making, I was literally just wearing this book out. I love the way they talk about how to make sleeves, like how to measure for the sleeves and how to make them custom. I use this all the time, like if I'm making like a bolero or a jacket or something for a bride. Measuring, whatever. But I was using this so much that I literally had to just like make copies of some of my favorite pages and use the copies because I was wearing it out. Here's a little dart chart. And okay, the measurements. This is so handy. Stuff like this, showing you where to measure. Bust shapes, darting. If I was like, oh, look at that armhole curve. Oh, the other thing is this book doesn't use like a lot of over-the-head terminology. I can't stand that. As you can tell when I'm working, I don't use crazy lingo and all these technical terms because I think you'll find as a seamster, your experience is probably going to be similar to mine. You're probably going to be speaking, if you're doing alterations, you're going to be speaking with clients more often than you will other sewing professionals. And there's no sense in talking over their head. Like, you want to talk to them in a way that they can understand. And so for that very reason, I don't use the terminology. I don't throw the terminology out there. Here's another thing, a diagram of how to measure. This is so awesome. So anyways, yeah, I like realistic terminology that is like kind of lay terms for people. This chart is so handy. So whenever I would get a client for custom work, I have this filled out completely for them, the measurement chart. So there's that. Yeah, so this book is just, it's just right. If I was, so what I was saying was like, if I, you know, had the deserted island challenge that everybody talks about, if I was left on a deserted island with only one sewing book, which sewing book would I choose? This is absolutely what I would choose. I love this book so much. So I hope that if you guys are into getting some more books, that maybe you'll think about this one and, you know, let me know what you think of it, if it works for you or not. Also, in the comments down below, list for me some of your favorite books also. I may have just, you know, not seen some book that you have, and it may be just incredible, and I would love to get that book too. So please do share that with the community. Let us know your favorite book, and if I, you know, I may even just have some glaring omission or something like I usually do, you know. We should play a game in the comments section below every video. Name the glaring omission, because there's usually one. And of course, as always, don't get nasty about it, man. Be nice. Just because you thought of something I didn't think of doesn't mean you got to get all nasty. No, most of you people on here are super, super sweet. But yeah, we do get some nasties every now and then. And I know I mention them in my videos, like, hey, be nice. And you guys probably look down in the comments and you're like, what is she talking about? Like, most of these bad ones are like kind of like just mediocre nasty. Well, YouTube is kind enough to give us some mediating tools. And I delete the really nasty ones. So the ones that, you know, say things like I make them sick and like just, you know, way worse than that, they get deleted. you don't see those. So anyways, yeah, there is some like name calling and hatefulness that goes on sometime. But anyways, most of you are super sweet and appreciative, and I love the community so much. And I appreciate you guys watching my videos. So yeah, comment down below. Don't forget to please hit the share button. It's that curly little arrow. Hit the share button, copy that link, go to wherever you are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. And I think Facebook is actually more link friendly. Put that link in there and share this channel with your friends and help this channel to grow. And I would just forever be indebted to you. Have a beautiful day, guys.